Government shutdown. You've seen that headline a million times, right? It feels like this political storm that just rolls in every so often, causing a ton of chaos and confusion. But what is really going on? Is it all just political theater, or is there a real, tangible cost to all of this? Well, let's break it down and demystify it once and for all.
The second a shutdown even looks possible, the blame game kicks into high gear. You immediately get statements just like this one, where the whole crisis is framed not as some complex policy disagreement, but as a bare-knuckle fight for political survival. It really sets the stage for a massive conflict, doesn't it? And that's really the heart of the matter. Is this whole thing just a high-stakes game being played by politicians in Washington, D.C., or does it actually spark a genuine, full-blown national crisis? That's exactly what we're going to figure out. So first up, here's something that might surprise you. Government shutdowns feel like they've just always been a part of our political landscape, but they're actually pretty new. And what's more, they're happening more and more often. Just take a look at this timeline. You can see the whole pattern laid out. I mean, for most of American history, this just wasn't a thing. The first modern one happens in '81. And then a really painful one in '96 seems to scare everyone straight for almost 2 decades. But then, look what happens after 2013. All of a sudden, it becomes a go-to political weapon. Okay, so if this is a relatively new and destructive habit, how does it even happen in the first place? Why is the government legally forced to just stop? It all boils down to a pretty old law called the Anti-Deficiency Act. And what that law says, essentially, is that the government is not allowed to spend money it doesn't have. So when Congress can't agree on its 12 big funding bills by the deadline, usually October 1st, most of the federal government has to, by law, come to a screeching halt. But here's the thing. It's not a complete power outage. The federal workforce gets split right in two. First, you have your essential or accepted employees. Think air traffic controllers, active duty military, folks who are required by law to keep working, but, and this is key, without getting paid on time. Then you have everyone else who are furloughed. They're sent home and are legally forbidden from doing their jobs. And this split, this is where the real pain begins. A shutdown isn't just a DC problem. It sends a massive shockwave across the entire country, with a huge financial cost that ripples out far beyond the Capitol. And how big of a shockwave are we talking? Well, a Senate investigation put the price tag for the last 3 shutdowns at $4 billion. But here's the truly wild part. Almost all of that, $3.7 billion, was just back pay for federal workers who were furloughed. That's taxpayer money spent for literally zero work performed. But that's just the direct cost to taxpayers. The 35-day shutdown back in 2019 also just erased $3 billion in economic activity. Poof, gone. And it's gone forever. That's business that never got done, value that was never created. It's just a permanent loss. And you know, behind these giant abstract numbers are real people. Federal workers get layoff notices. Families who rely on housing assistance are suddenly at risk. Head Start programs that serve thousands of kids just stop. And while federal employees usually get their back pay eventually, what about the millions of private contractors? The people who run the cafeterias, the security, the IT support? For them and their small businesses, that income is just gone for good. So what does this all mean for you, day to day? Well, some things keep chugging along. Social Security checks still go out, the mail still gets delivered, because they have their own funding. But if you were planning a trip to a national park, forget it. Trying to get a federal loan processed? Good luck. Have a problem with the IRS? You're probably going to have to wait until the politicians in Washington figure things out. So, given all this chaos, all these costs, why on earth do shutdowns keep happening? It all comes down to politics. A shutdown is basically a high-stakes negotiating tactic. The question is, does it actually work? The track record is, to be blunt, abysmal. I mean, just look at this. If you analyze the 6 major shutdowns since 1990, the ones fought over huge make-or-break policy issues, the number of times the side that forced the shutdown actually got what they wanted is a big, fat 0. As a political strategy, it has a perfect record of failure. And we've all seen this play out in real time. Remember the huge fight over border wall funding? Or the battle to defund the Affordable Care Act? In both cases, a shutdown was used as the ultimate leverage. And in both cases, the party that started it eventually had to give in without achieving their main objective. This long, painful history of high costs and zero results has a lot of people asking, isn't there a better way? Can we end this cycle of budgeting by crisis? Well, there is one potential solution on the table that aims to take the shutdown threat away for good. It's called an automatic continuing resolution, or an auto-CR. And the idea is actually pretty simple. If Congress blows past its deadline, funding just continues automatically at the previous year's level. No shutdown. But, and here's the really clever part, to make sure they don't just get lazy, that funding level automatically starts to drop over time. This slow burn pressure is designed to force lawmakers back to the table to pass a real budget. Now, it sounds like a great idea, but it's not a silver bullet. Critics worry that it could just put government spending on autopilot, basically giving Congress a free pass to avoid making tough decisions. If it's not designed just right, it could take away the pressure needed to be fiscally responsible, and maybe even lead to more spending down the line. And that's where we're left, with this fundamental paradox. We have this political weapon that costs us billions of dollars, disrupts millions of lives, and has a proven 0% success rate. So the only real question left is whether our political system can actually find the will to fix a problem that it keeps creating for itself.